Story 1. Am I the a-hole for telling my fiance my daughter has to be in our wedding? I, 45 male, have a daughter, P, from a previous relationship. I divorced my ex-wife on good terms, and we share 50-50 custody of P. She's now 11. After I divorced my ex-wife, I met my now fiance, S. S and my daughter get along very well. After 5 years in my relationship with S, I proposed. S was super excited and wanted to start planning right away. She looked at venues and started asking her friends to be her bridesmaids. She then told me she wanted her niece to be a flower girl, which I had no problem with, but I said I also wanted P to be a flower girl. S looked at me funny and then said that she didn't think that P would fit the part. I got angry and told S that my daughter would be in our wedding. S started to become upset and said that the girls in the wedding were up to her and P wouldn't be one of them. I told S that if P wasn't in the wedding, then there might not be a wedding. I stormed out and took P to get ice cream. P knows we're getting married and told me she thinks she'll look pretty with whatever dress S decides she should wear. This broke my heart and I decided to text S. I told her I would be staying with a friend to think this over. My mother-in-law texted me saying I was overreacting and that my daughter doesn't have to be in my wedding and I was being an a-hole for saying that I would cancel. So did I take it too far, saying I will cancel? Am I overreacting or just being a good dad? Well, I think you are a good dad for wanting your daughter to be involved in the wedding, but saying you'll cancel if she isn't, that's kind of taking it too far. There just needs to be discussion. I mean, the whole thing about the fiance seems to be laying down this arbitrary rule that, oh, women in the ceremony are my responsibility, and what, just men are his responsibility? So does that mean that this guy can prevent her father from attending the wedding? It kind of gets tricky when it involves family. I think there just needs to be a lot more discussion, and that I really think it's sweet that he wants his daughter as part of their wedding. There needs to be more discussion, but I do think you're kind of an a-hole for saying you'll cancel if she isn't in there. I mean, it's an ultimatum. Doesn't ring true. Story 2. No refunds once you've stepped out of the store? Fine. I won't step out of the store. This happens in a large store in a European country. When you purchase something from them, and for any reason you want to return the item, their policy is they never give money back. They only give you a voucher redeemable the same day only. I went to the store today and purchased quite a long list of items. When I got home, my wife looked at them and said that we don't need some of them. I go back to the store, barely 20 minutes pass. The returns manager smiles at me as I tell her I just purchased these and would like to return them. She then tells me that I stepped out of the store, so she can't give a refund. Only give me a voucher and I must buy something else. I'd already bought everything I needed. Then she tells me to take the products home and keep them for the next time I would need to buy something. Then I can come and get the voucher and redeem it. Imagine keeping a pair of shoes and a bowl and remember to bring them with you the next time you happen to need something. I tried to reason, but she was adamant. Those are the rules. You stepped out of the store. You didn't get a refund. And then it clicked. I asked, so if someone wants to return an item without leaving the store, they get the money back. Yes? You see where this is heading. Malicious compliance kicking in. I asked to return the items and get the voucher. I take the voucher, get inside the store, find a product for exactly the same amount, buy it with the voucher. Right after the cashier, there's the returns manager. Straight from the cashier, I go to her, hand her the random product I just bought, and say, I would like to return this. I don't want it, and I never left the store. She's looking at me with barely contained rage in her eyes. I kid you not. The awkward pause was getting longer. And then her manager comes along, looks at us, and I smile at him and say, "I never left the store, and I would like to get a refund for these, please." He nods. Silent and not looking at me, she proceeds to refund the money in cash. Company policy, huh? Oh, I really believe that somewhere along the line, probably sooner than later, they fixed that plug. They probably said something like, you cannot return, you cannot get a refund for items paid with a voucher or something like that. It's a pretty easy loophole to plug, but hey, great for getting a refund and great for using the rules the way they spelled them out. Good job. Story 3. Can I sue the gym for letting my daughter get mauled? My daughter was being watched at an on-site child watching facility while I worked out. She got open bite wounds all over from a child with special needs. They knew he had these needs and didn't have an aide or other person to help. I was not alerted that she was injured, and she was not given any first aid. I even witnessed and had to pull the other kid off her when I just happened to end my workout. I went to a supervisor, and she also denied my toddler first aid. They have since contacted me and said not to worry about the situation, and my daughter would be safe to be left there again because the woman was restrained. So I know for a fact she is still there after she let it happen. My daughter went to urgent care, a follow-up with her pediatrician, and was prescribed antibiotics. She may potentially need hepatitis testing. Is this grounds to sue? The medical expenses were not that expensive after insurance, but the traumatic effect on her, and I as well, has been huge. Speaking as someone who does not have law experience, it does sound like you have a case. You really need to consult a lawyer, though. Yeah, I am not authorized, I am not qualified to give legal advice, and I don't know where you are, what part of the country or even the world you're in. But yeah, you have something there. I mean, why would you want to go back? I know it's a pain to switch gyms and everything, but man, at least you should look at some other gyms with on-site care facility, and I don't think I would need to worry about having to pay some kind of cancellation fee after they did this to your toddler. Story 4. You don't want to sell to the American? Meet my French husband and waste your time. So I'm 38 female, vacationing with my mother, 71 female, in Europe right now, and she just told me this epic story that I must pass down to all of you. Some background. My mother is a very nice person to strangers, especially salespeople. Aggressive salespeople will back her into a corner for an hour until I come rescue her because she doesn't want to be rude. My father passed away a few years ago at age 81, and he was born in Egypt and was schooled in both French and Arabic and considered both to be his native languages, and then learned English as an adult when he moved to the U.S. A few years after they got married in 1976, but before they had kids, they took a vacation to Paris. My mother collects stamps, and she wanted some French plate blocks to add to her collection. She left my father napping in the hotel room and went to a post office a block away, planning on spending $300 to $400 on stamps. She got to the post office and waited in a very long line. When she finally got to the front, the woman behind the counter told her in perfect English that she didn't speak English. So my mom waited for another post employee to become free. The second employee finally became available, but was very rude to my mother, telling her that she couldn't help her, couldn't sell her this, out of stock of that, etc., while rolling her eyes and being otherwise nasty and rude, nearly bringing my mother to tears. My mother was so upset that she decided to get some revenge. She went back to the hotel and woke up my father and brought him to the post office. My mother waited until the rude woman was available and had my dad translate in perfect French, telling the woman that my mom wanted the plate block of every set of stamps she had, watching her remove the plate block from each sheet. For those of you that don't know, when you remove the plate block from a sheet of stamps, the remaining stamps must be counted by hand. After the nasty woman had a nice stack of plate blocks for my mother, one of every stamp design that they had, my mother turned to my father and said, "Tell her I've changed my mind." Not only did that woman miss out on a huge sale for being mean and nasty, but she also had to spend a good 30 to 60 minutes after closing to hand count each individual stamp after they closed for the day. I am just so proud of my very polite mother right now. If she is that polite to salespeople that are cornering her all the time, and she decides to get revenge on someone by doing this, imagine how much of a nasty salesperson and a nasty person this person must have been to treat her this way. Something just finally snapped in your nice mother and just decided, no, this isn't going to happen today. Great job. Story 5. Am I the a-hole for punishing my 16-year-old stepdaughter after we found out she was bullying a kid for being poor? About 2 months ago, my wife, female 38, and I, male 41, learned my stepdaughter, female 16, was bullying a girl in school over being poor, getting free lunch at school and not being able to afford necessities such as her own nice car and stuff. Our daughter was kind of spoiled. We provided her with everything she needed, along with an allowance and a part-time job at my company, small family service business. We've been considered middle class, doing things others were not as privileged to do, such as buying our daughter a car on her 16th birthday. I come from a family of immigrants and was considered in poverty growing up. After learning about the bullying, I was furious as we thought we didn't raise her to behave this way. She was in honors and top ranking of her class. I tried to talk to our daughter over why she would do that, and I was disturbed to learn it was because she viewed that girl as trailer trash, which irritated me. The girl, from what I learned, is very smart and works hard. She bought her own beater car by herself and works 2 jobs. She considered the money our family had as our family's money. This is our daughter. So I put her in her place and told her that it was not her money, but her mom's and my money. I decided that from that point on, I was spoiling my daughter too much. We ended up taking away her latest iPhone and replacing it with my old iPhone 8 by switching phones with me, with a talk and text plan. We took away her family credit card, sold her car, along with her MacBook and other luxuries. I also told her she would have to find a job without nepotism and work a minimum wage job like everyone else her age, because I'm done giving her handouts if she's going to act entitled. Fast forward 2 months later, she's working at a fast food restaurant with us driving her around. She doesn't talk to me unless she needs something like a ride, but is very upset with me. My wife feels like I'm taking this too far because it's affecting her social status and grades at school. I, however, feel like she needs to be humbled because I can't have a daughter who will disrespect people just because of the amount of money they have. I also fear that her behaving this way will affect her younger sister, female 12, and how she perceives the world. Am I the a-hole for punishing my 16-year-old stepdaughter after we found out that she was bullying a kid for being poor? No. You're letting her know this is why we're doing this. You are providing her with just about everything that she could want, and she was being entitled because of it. Now she is living like this person. If it's affecting her grades, that's kind of one thing. You need to maybe ease up on a little bit like that, on it a little bit so that she can get her grades. I mean, how exactly is this affecting her grades? because I think I think it would also be cruel to say, well, this girl that you're calling trailer trash is getting good grades and is buying her own car and working jobs. Comparing that would be kind of being an a-hole. But I think it's time to have like a serious talk with her about this and see if she's learned her lesson. Maybe talk about bringing back some things and see how she feels about it.
Please like and subscribe if you made it this far. I hope you'll enjoy the rest of the video and have a wonderful day.
Story 6. Trick me out of my laptop? You'll give me your car. 13 years ago, I was in my late teens, living on my own and really struggling to live financially. One of the few possessions I had was an old laptop. My laptop had stopped working properly, and while I'm fairly proficient in using a computer, I had no idea about fixing them. I did a bit of searching on the internet, but couldn't get it working, so I asked my stepdad to take a look. He has a quick look and says it's fracked, but he'll take it off my hands if I don't want it, so I said, sure. If it's broken, then it's no good to me. 10 minutes later, I walk into the room, and he's using it. I asked if he fixed it, and he said, yeah, thanks for the laptop. I was obviously ticked. My mom says she wasn't getting involved, and his only response was that he did a quick internet search to find the fix, and I could have done the same. I was broke, and he took one of my only possessions even though he had a PC and a laptop already. A few months later, I was visiting my mom and stepdad when I had an idea. While I'm useless with computers, I'm very competent with mechanics, specifically Audis, and my stepdad had a 2001 Audi A3. Before coming into the house, I went under his car and unplugged the oil level sensor and a vacuum line for the turbo. Later on that day, he went to go to the shop or something. When he started the car, it threw up oil warning lights on the dash and wouldn't boost, so he turned it off and had a look of concern on his face. I went out to ask him what's up, and he said that something went majorly wrong. He says something along the lines of catastrophic turbo failure or engine failure. He's already spent quite a bit on repairs and didn't want to spend any more money on it, so spoke to my mom about just cutting his losses and scrapping it. I asked how much it's worth at the scrapyard, and he said £100. So I ever so graciously offered $120 to take it off his hands, to maybe part it out, which he accepted. He signed over the logbook, title, and wrote me a receipt of purchase and handed the car keys over. I walked outside, lifted the bonnet, pretended to look at my phone for a minute, went under the car and plugged the vac line and oil sensor back in, fired it straight up, and drove around the block. When I got back, I gave him the thumbs up and said it's all fine now. His mouth was wide open, and he was mega ticked, and my reply was, "You could have found the solution too with a quick internet search." He tried arguing that it wasn't fair, and if it's working, then I can't just take his car, but I just said he didn't have a problem tricking me out of my laptop, and that he already signed his car over to me, so tough luck. My mom kind of laughed and said she's not getting involved, and that it was his own fault. I still have the car to this day, and it's practically in showroom condition and runs sweet. Way to trade up! Excellent work, using your strengths to your advantage. Excellent. And I wish I was better at cars, or at least at maintaining cars than that. I'm not as good at computers as some. I probably would have been able to fix that laptop, but yeah. The upshot of this is I like computers more than I like cars. That's all I'm saying. Story 7. Angry lady yelled at a special needs person at the gym, so we did a bit of trolling. This guy named Michael has Down syndrome, and he's at the gym with his father 4 days a week around the same time. He's very nice and positive. He yells encouragement and compliments to people working out. When he arrives at the gym, and if he sees me, he yells very loudly something like, "Hey, how are you? Glad I can see you." And if he likes my shirt, he tells me he likes it and the things he likes about it. Michael is a genuinely good person, and I love seeing him when I work out. When he's working out, he makes loud sounds that sound like a cow going moo, but without the M part. It's very loud, especially when he's getting in the zone in his workout. If you've never seen him, you'll look up, see him lifting like a beast, and being the mature adult you are, can tell he has Down syndrome, mind your own fracking business and go back to your workout. Apparently, this was too hard for someone this evening. A lady with her training group, about 5 people, was working out next to Michael. How the gym is laid out, the aerobics and stretching area is next to the dumbbells. Still plenty of room for everyone. Michael is doing his thing, having a great workout, but is getting very loud. His father is nearby working out on the machines near the dumbbell area. One of the ladies gets annoyed and walks up to him and yells at him to keep it down. I know the father. We have similar jobs and talk sometimes about work. We both made eye contact, and our eyes widened. We are both thinking, what the hell is wrong with her? Michael is not hurting anyone. Almost everyone has on headphones anyway. Michael says, "Okay," very loudly. That's just him, but it felt like a hilariously smart response. Everyone gets back to their workouts. Michael obviously is just as loud as ever, making those noises. Lady gets ticked, walks up to him, and literally yells at him to keep it down. Father is understandably angry. Walks up to her, tries to explain to her that he's special needs and doesn't mean to be loud. They argue for a bit. I couldn't hear everything they said, but the conversation ended when the father yelled extremely loudly, the R word. I can't say that word. "What the frack do you want from us?" Everyone stops working out to look at her. Her face turned bright red and she sulked away. Everyone goes back to their workouts. The petty revenge part. My workout buddy and I decided that we really needed to work out our abs, so we did some sit-ups in the stretching area next to their group and grunted loudly while we got to the last few reps. They said nothing to us, but we still had fun. While I was writing this, my workout buddy said he thinks she was angry because they were trying to record a video and his noises were ruining the recording. Didn't think of that. Now it makes sense why she was getting so angry. Michael probably kept ruining her takes. So, I tried to respond to everyone who commented, but please don't praise me or my workout partner. We didn't do anything really. That's why this is in petty revenge instead of pro-revenge. We only made some petty noise to tick her off. I'm too much of a coward to be directly confrontational to strangers. Sorry, not going to record Michael for useless internet points. Don't exploit special needs folks for internet clout. For those saying this is fake, you'd think I would paint myself and my workout partner as more of heroes instead of lackluster, loud grunting noises. I'm an awful storyteller for not making myself look more of a bad man, a bad to the bone person instead of a brat if this is fake. Wish I had some farts in the tank though. Yeah. You just don't know who you're dealing with. If they had reserved that area for filming video, or if they had something like that, that might have been an issue. But everyone's just working out. And this is not like Planet Fitness where they're going to sound the lunk alarm on you. And even then, I don't think what he was doing was really anything harmful. Just keep to yourself and work out. Filming yourself does not build muscle or lose weights. Story 8. I was recently privy to this email conversation from a friend who is a tabletop RPG developer. From Chris, email, to Tom, email. Subject, canceled orders. Help! To whom this may concern. I am inquiring personally about a new popular RPG which was recently released by Big Explosions. We have placed several orders for large quantities of this title due to high demand, and each time we place it, we receive the below attached message that our order unfortunately had to be rejected. I understand this may be a glitch in your system of some sort, but I would be very appreciative if you could resolve this so we can order this title. Yours, Chris, owner, Big Down Home RPG Game Store. From Tom, email, to Chris, email. CC, Big Explosions publishing staff, including clickety_clickety. Subject, canceled orders, help. Hi, Chris. It's been a long time. I don't know if you remember me, but I actually grew up in hometown and frequented your store through middle school and high school. Your store and the games we played made an incredible impression on me and influenced my career path. It made me want to write and develop role-playing games, which led me to start small indie game company and move out here to Seattle to collaborate with other developers and develop it. You might recall back in 2016 that New Popular RPG was initially released as an indie title called New Less Popular RPG. We fronted the cost on publishing and marketing and sought out game stores in the Northwest United States to playtest our games. I, however, never forgot your kindness in those years spent in the back room of your store playing Magic the Gathering and D&D, so I took a 16-hour road trip to show up at your store and personally ask you if you would be interested in selling it on your shelves upon release. At that time, you told me that you only had room for big titles, and that you couldn't accept every indie RPG developer that knocks on your door. I then offered to send you free copies of the title to sell for 100% profit. Because honestly, I just wanted to have my own RPG on the shelves in the store that was so important to my youth. But you laughed. You laughed, and told me again that you only had room for big titles. That the RPG industry was really cutthroat and that you didn't have room for even one copy of my book. Last year, in 2018, I was privileged to merge with and acquire the much larger Big Explosions Publishing and all of its titles. We are sincerely blessed to be able to share the love of RPGs internationally. And this year, we re-released my game as a new popular RPG with a $500,000 marketing campaign that has been incredibly successful. In conclusion, Chris, you are free to order absolutely any title from the Big Explosions distribution list. There are many to choose from. However, the distributor has been given strict instructions not to distribute New Popular RPG to your store. I'm sure there are much bigger titles that can fill your shelves. Yours most sincerely, Tom, Director, Big Explosions Gaming. Ooh, okay, not only is this a subject near and dear to my heart, pen and paper role-playing games, but that's great that this person was able to acquire a bigger publishing company. That's awesome, amazing, and can do what you want. I mean, it's great to be able to pay homage to those things that gave you joy and set you on your path, but if they are not going to reciprocate, yeah, cut them loose. They don't need that money. They're a big publishing company that can afford to make international sales, it sounds like. Great on you. Excellent. That person failed. That game store owner failed their role at ordering multiple times.
Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.